Hey, so welcome to Windfold Farm. We've got something different for you today. We're actually at Aberdeenshire Sheepdogs, and we're to get a demo from Gary and Michelle, which are actually over here. So I'd like to introduce you to Gary and Michelle.
Hello.
If you would like to say a few things about yourself.
So I'm Michelle Bruce, and this is my husband Gary, as Jackie said. So we are here at Meikle Tilly Eve, where we run Aberdeenshire Sheepdogs. There's 650 breeding ewes, and finish their lambs, and we've got 5 or 6 collies. There's 5 of our own and 1 that I've got in for training as well. So we'll let you meet them shortly.
Gary?
So Michelle's explained about what we do on the farming side. Here we tell you a bit about the dogs. We do started doing demonstrations pretty recently, but we've also for a while we've had the training side of things, where we will try and help people along, but we're very much novices. But we also get expert trainers in as well from really good handlers that come in and give folk pointers on how to work their dog a bit more effectively, and hopefully that'll make the life easier for the handler, for the sheep and for the dogs.
So had the likes of Jasmine Grant, George Simpson, Sergio Borello, Brennan Smith, and we're just looking forward to Kenny Bremner coming down in July.
And Ian Mackay as well.
Ian Mackay from Liana Sheepdogs as well, he's been down. So yeah, it's been quite busy the last couple of years with clinics, and folk can also come down and pay a monthly membership to use the field and the sheep, and they can come along and anytime they want, they just book in and they can practice their dogs, because the sheep are quite well trained, and they can just use the sheep whenever they want. And we've got a round pen as well that they can use. Someone's in just using the sheep at the moment, and it just contains everything a little bit when you're starting out.
So my mum, Brenda, you've met, actually comes down here with our new dog Blue. So maybe Gary might do a little shot with Blue. And we've also got these two here. Michelle, if you want to introduce these two.
You've gone all camera shy because someone's looking at the sheep. So this is Floss. She is a quarter Kelpie and 3/4 collie. Someone described her as, imagine going down the Berrydale Braes with no brakes on. And that is a pretty accurate description of Flossie. She's 6 now, and she would be my main working dog. And then we've got Tiek. Tiek, come on. He's Gary's dog, and he is 3.5 now, I think. So he does most of the work with Gary, and Gary's been taking him to open trials. You ran him in the nurseries as well. And then we've got Kai, who's been very noisy.
Hello.
She thinks she's stuck, but she's not. So
She's going to get herself stuck.
Yeah. So she's just 5 months old now. So she won't start her sheepdog training for a while yet. She's out of Kenny Bremner's Fern and George Simpson's Lad. So at the moment we're just getting her used to everything and getting socialised. And she seems keen on sheep, so that's why she's tied up. Otherwise she'd be a nuisance. So we'll start her training in a couple of months' time.
Hey, so we're now with Michelle and Flossie. Yeah, Floss in the pen. So this is where you would start when you're doing some dog training. So Michelle's away to show us how it's done.
I'll try. This is slightly cheating because she is 6 years old.
Yeah.
She's not a youngster. Come by. Stand. Walk up. Walk up.
So I'm with Michelle. Gary's just away to go and do some out the field stuff. We've actually already been in the pen. So we're away to go and do the long field, and we've got Tiek. So Michelle's going to describe what Gary's doing while we're watching Gary and Tiek. Okay.
So I don't know if you can see, the sheep have just gone to the far end of the park. So Gary's now set Tiak off from his feet. He's asked him to go away. So there's, with the commands, you've got come by, which is clockwise, and away, which is anti-clockwise. And so there's kind of 5 commands that you use with the dogs. There's come by, away, stand or stop, to get them to do as it says. Walk up, so bring the sheep up to you, and that'll do, which is come off the sheep and come back to your feet. So Gary's got Tiak to do an outrun, and he's landed in the back of the sheep and is bringing the sheep down to Gary's feet. He's not listening to Gary at the moment. There we go, he's now coming out a bit more. Gary will use whistle commands, and he's just uses his fingers for that, but some folk will use a metal whistle. So now bring in the sheep round,
which you can get hold of
from Logan Whistles, and
yes,
you can buy them from me, yes. So they're just taking the sheep round Gary's feet, but they're being a little bit stroppy,
which is quite normal for sheep.
Yeah. So they're taking them around the feet, and they're now heading through these 2 sets of cones here. It's meant to be everything's meant to be straight lines, so they'll have had quite a few points. Oh no, Gary! So they've had quite a few points deducted because they've missed the gate. They will also have points deducted because they didn't go in a straight line from Gary's feet through those cones, and then they've lost even more points because they've missed the gate, the post over the other side.
So how long's Gary been doing training with Tiak?
So Tiak's about Tiak's 3.5. So Gary started his training when he was a pup, and they went to a few nursery trials together. They've done a few open trials together, and they're still learning and working on new things every day.
So that whistling that Gary's doing, how do you learn that? Is that something that's all the same for every dog, or?
It's just practice. So, and you can put on different whistle commands. Like you obviously want them to be distinctive between come by and away. And what I find is that if you're working 2 dogs together, you kind of want them to be on different come by commands and different away commands, because if you're both giving the dog, like different dogs, the same command, it can be a bit confusing. So you want them on different come by commands and different away commands. And with the Logan whistles, it's just practice. Just annoy yourself in the car, but don't do it when the dog's in it. And just practice. Gary uses his fingers. I always think is pretty gross at lambing time because you have no idea where those fingers have been. So I would much rather use my metal whistle.
So is it easier for the dog to hear when he's further away for the whistling?
Definitely. So when you're starting a dog off, you want you use your body language, and then you start to use a voice command, and then you put a whistle to it, because the dog, if it's windy or it's raining or you've got a big park to gather in, your dog's not going to hear your voice, so you need to use a whistle.
Hey, so we're back with Gary this time, and Michelle is going to show us a demo with Lisa this time, and Gary's going to talk us through what she's doing.
So at the moment she's just letting the sheep wander away so that she can get a bit of an outrun on. So setting the dog up so it goes on the away side, which is up the right hand side there. So that's giving it command to get it off.
In away and come by is what, Gary?
So away means that the dog goes anti-clockwise around the sheep. So the way to remember it is away starts with an A, anti-clockwise starts with an A. And then come by means that the dog goes clockwise around the sheep. So yeah, so come by starts with a C, clockwise starts with a C.
Okay.
So that's the dog landing in behind the sheep quite nicely and lifted the sheep in a fairly straight manner, so she would have done well there. Now she's on to the fetch, and you want the sheep to come at a steady pace in a straight line down towards the handler. So they're veered off to the right a wee bit. She's just sent the dog round to get them onto line a bit. But I would say Lisa's an energetic kind of dog. She's flapping about a bit too much here rather than just coming up steady onto the sheep and moving them nicely. So she's making hard work for herself there. So the idea now is that the dog we'd take the sheep around the back of the handler, and then once the sheep's around the back of the handler, that's the fetch over and they're onto the drive. So this is the first part of the drive. It's in a straight line from the handler's feet to the first drive gates, which is that one's on the left there. This is a left hand course. That means the sheep go to the left. You get right hand courses where the sheep go to the right, and the first drive gates are on the right hand side. So she's just trying to tuck them in. Oh, she's going to miss. Oh. So she was a bit late with her away command there, and it meant the sheep slid up to the right of the gates, and then she missed them on the left. So the idea of the cross drive is that the sheep walk in a straight line from the first gates to the second gates in a nice steady straight line, and they've gone in more of an S shape than a, than a nice straight line. But here it's a lot easier said than done, that's for sure, especially when the sheep are running like that.
Yeah, it's a talent though, is it?
It takes lots of practice and years of experience to be very good at this. Like as we say, we are very much novices, and we've got a heck of a lot still to learn.
So how old's Lisa?
So I'm not sure if you've seen Tiak run earlier on today, but so Lisa is a sister to Tiak, and they are 3.5 years old.
Okay.
Now, so they say a dog's fully trained when it's 4 years old. So
there's still a little bit of training for the dog as well.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an ongoing process when you're training a dog. There's always something to polish up, especially if you're trying to do well at open trials. You know, there's always something to polish up. You know, after 4 they do start, I would say 4, 5, 6 is probably years old is probably when the dog's in their absolute prime. And when they get older than that, they start to become less physically fit, and they're a bit slower, and they're not so sharp, but they are a lot easier handled.
Yeah.
When they're older. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things to pay attention to when you're doing this. The dog's got to be in the right place to move the sheep, and the sheep don't always move in the direction you think they move. You know, they have an escape plan, and it's not always the same plan that you have.
Yeah.
It's normally the exact opposite. So
how much trials have you and Michelle done?
Yeah, so I mean, so Michelle hasn't done many trials yet. She did go to a trial up north, but it didn't quite go so well, so she lost a bit of confidence doing that. I've done I did the nursery season 2 years ago, which was about 10 trials, and then I've done a few novice trials and a few open trials. So on the whole, I've probably done about 25 trials maybe at the most. So this is Michelle's trying to do a shed here. This is where you get split. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, you call the dog in and you split the sheep off. So this is quite handy for if you've got a group of sheep and you see one sheep that's maybe got a sore foot or something that you need to handle it for. So instead of disrupting the whole group, you can just shed off the one you need, and then you can do what you need to do with that. So
that saves Martin trying to catch it in the park then.
It saves poor Martin have to run. Yeah.
She's going back
There
through
we go,
again,
we got them through the gates this time. So let's see if she can get the next half of the drive sorted. They look like they're on the right line. Maybe a wee touch high. It's very hard to judge where that sheep are on that line. They may be a wee touch too high. We're going to find out if they pass that top cone. Or if there you go.
Yes.
Oh, I think one was maybe the wrong side, was it? There you go. So
she did well there though.
Yeah, it's not easy to judge.
Hey, so that's us back. We're actually finished for the day. I can't wait for this video to come. So thank you very much to Barry and Michelle.
No
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see you.
What we'll do is we'll put the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, and the TikTok on the bottom of the video. So Martin will do all that kind of stuff. So that's bye bye from Windfold Farm.